Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Leo March 2022 forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who are stopping by for the first time, and many have asked, can I provide one-on-one personal clairvoyant readings? The answer is yes. Just check out the information that's in the description below. Now, this month we're going to use a deck which features people from sub-Saharan Africa, and the paintings on it have the people and geography of that part of the world featured, and that's a good thing. Now, the other thing I'll say is this, is that, many of the clients that I have are Leo women that approach me from all over the world over FaceTime and Skype, and Leo women are known as being amongst the most beautiful in the zodiac. And actually, some time ago, I did a video called Leo Woman, Sex and Style. I'll put a link to it in the description below. It runs for about 7 minutes, and I think you'll find it interesting and entertaining to have a look at. Now, what I'll also do now is take 5 cards, because 5 is all we need, and 5 is the number of change. And so we're going to see what there is in store for you this March 2022. There is Papa Blade. I won't give anything away at the moment about these particular namings, but you can assume that Blade, of course, is swords, and you would be right to do so. There is the 3 of Staffs. See, just beautiful, beautiful paintings, I think. The deck arrived at my place. Yes, there's a couple of cards have come out here. The 9 of Staffs, the 10 of Staffs. That's quite... that's meant to be, because I can assure you that the deck has been very thoroughly shuffled a number of times, and so the 9 and 10 coming out for that purpose must be destined to, and we'll see why that is the case in just a moment. But let's have a look to see what's on the top here, shall we? Let's see what there is for your final card. And there is Young Blade. Well, a lot of people here. So anyway, why don't you come now? Sit down here next to me. We'll have a good close look at the cards together while I do your reading for you. All right, now I think you can see, though, here is a Leo card, incidentally. There you are, Leo the Lion. Let's look at Papa Blade first, shall we? That's the first card that came out from the pack, and so we have what to say by looking at this image. And what do we have to say here? Well, the first thing that I will say is that I get a lot of Gemini and a lot of Taurus around here. He is the Lord of the winds and breezes. A lot of Taurus. So we have the energy of the mind, I think, in Gemini, with the influence and stability and determination of Taurus. So I think that this is a time when you will be active, clever, skillful, fierce and courageous, but maybe unreflective at times. He is the fiery aspect of air, very goal-oriented, and has a great degree of ambition around you, but you'll have very flexible intellectual powers, a great degree of passion. Now, his strong intellectual determination is unified with a deep emotional perceptiveness, and only goals which are emotionally charged can kindle such passion. Body, intellect, and spirit are all in harmony with you at this time, and they infuse you. I think that this really speaks to a time when you will have a clear insight into a problem, working quickly to set goals, and don't let anything stand in your way. Nevertheless, I think this may well be a restless period where you are, in a sense, transitioning and trying to get somewhere else, either in your everyday life, or maybe travel, or a third possibility may be in a way that you tend to think about things and your outlook and your dealings with other people in relationships. It is a time, I think, for you to listen to the head rather than to the heart, because I have the feeling that he is somebody who is more comfortable in his head
rather than in expressing feelings. But there is a restlessness around here in all aspects of your life. Maybe you want to break free from the workplace. Now, in a relationship setting, this can often foretell of breakups and reunions, breakups and reunions, breakups and reunions, until suddenly one of the parties said, "Who signed up for this?" And it's over. But you are in a good position now to forge plans, to set goals, and to bring them into fruition. Do you know your goal and what happens once you achieve it? Imagine how you will best be able to enjoy your success. And say this to yourself at this time. I know my goal, and I know what I am working towards. Each goal is just a milestone on the way to my ultimate destination. Well, let's have a look at who sits beneath him in this left-hand column. And it is who? It is young Blade. Well, young Blade, maybe the sun. Who knows? Let's have a look and see what you have to tell my friend here today. Now, young Blade is Mercury, the mercurial air planet and power in motion. One of the strengths of an air personality is their calm, reflective, and easygoing temperament. They have an ability to detach themselves from emotions and connections that, at the end of the day, don't really serve what they believe to be true. The young Blade, however, is the forceful aspect of wind that creates energy, storms, turbulence, and erosion. There is no limit to the heights that his mind is capable of reaching, and there is no censorship, I suppose, of the new thoughts that they wish to communicate. They run from idea to idea to idea to idea. Capricorn and Aquarius, I think, is going to be, well, may well be such a person that you know of here, and could well be having something to do with one of those people here. Now, this is a person who really is the inspired mind, the brainstorm in the literal sense. Air is one of the most ubiquitous and versatile elements on this planet, with the ability to make great use of every other element for better or for worse. Now, in the same way, young Blade can create hurricanes on warm waters, massive tornadoes that rip through the land, and fiery explosions that disintegrate everything within their radius. Yet, when this power is used cooperatively, new wonderful discoveries and innovations are possible. Now, I think that this means that you will be able to cut through outmoded systems and ideas to usher in fresh concepts at this time. Now, they may, to other people, come off as being ideas that are self-absorbed for you, because I think they're going to be focused on self-discovery and refining your image and reaching new heights. Your quick wit and clever mind will make you inclined, I think, perhaps to hasty judgments, or maybe coming to a conclusion about a subject without research or other considerations, so be aware of that. But you will, I think, at this time, be very astute and be the perfect facilitator of conversations between people who are in your circle. There is one thing, though, that I'm getting up here with this, and it is this, is that, and again, maybe it is a Capricorn or an Aquarius, but I'm getting the feeling perhaps of somebody around or that you come across that tends to indiscriminately blast through any obstacles that stand in the way of their own goal. They are, in a sense, a narcissist. Their focus is on what the bottom line is for them, and any personal situation brought down in the process is to them collateral damage. I think often this impulsiveness can leave that person with regret later on, as they must be held accountable for the debris which has been left in their wake. But I really do get the feeling that this is someone who's a narcissist, almost sociopathic, and could be someone that lacks compassion or conscience. This is a time for you to free yourself from whatever limits your mind and spirit. Be sure you express your ideas and plans in ways that other people will understand and accept their opinions humbly. Your thinking may be well ahead of its time, you see, but you can adjust to make your vision workable in the present without sacrificing anything. And I guess you might ask yourself this: what beliefs, feelings, relationships, or programmed ideas do you allow to limit yourself? And say this to yourself: my creative possibilities at this time have no limits whatsoever. Now, there are a bunch of fire cards here for you, and they are the 3, the 9, and the 10 of staffs. I'm going to deal with them in reverse order and see what it is that they have to say for you. Now this 10, for example, this 10 energy incidentally has been pushed away, so this might be something which is of a very temporary nature for you. But let's have a look at it anyway and see what it is. Do you know, you've been taught from a very young age, haven't you, that the place to be is at the top. Yet it can be the loneliest and most demanding position to be in. Now, you must now, I think, shoulder the weight of all you have acquired, and that load can be quite heavy. It's at this place that you find completion, not in having it all, but making sure that you are happy with what you've been able to realistically manage. Now, despite the responsibilities that weigh you down, you have the energy to complete the tasks that are ahead of you. Now, to do so means that you must in a sense grab onto what you can and break free. Here you see the excess wands that are falling to the sides, with 2 held above at the top of this person's head here. Now this pose is, I guess, similar to the tree pose in yoga, which roots us and brings balance. Now at the chest here, and I'll just go into it closer again so you might be able to see it. Now at the chest there is the Egyptian goddess Maat, representing truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. And she is a reminder, I think, for you at this time to get back to the basics. Now, she prevented the universe from falling back into chaos by understanding and harmonizing all of the polarities. You must also weigh your heart so that you can find the proper balance to allow you to move past burdens and on to success. At this point, you can now decide whether you need to find a new method to push forward or to delegate responsibilities to others for the success of the whole. In a sense, the astrology of this energy here is quite confronting. It is, for me, Saturn ruling the 3rd decan of Sagittarius, and 13th to the 22nd of December. Well, Sagittarius, you see, wants to expand and express its optimism and spiritual side. And Saturn, as you'll no doubt have picked up from YouTube presentations, can generally be categorized as a planet of restriction, although there are a lot of very good things about Saturn as well. But in this sense, it's restricting Sagittarius, and it represses the expansive nature of Sagittarius. So it is possible that during this time you might have some repressed feelings or feel that your energy is being held back. You may feel aggression, to tell you the truth. You might feel overburdened, taking on too much, which is why I talk about you needing to delegate something. You could be feeling the pressure or feel that you even are a victim of your own success. And you see, from the astrology, the Sagittarian readiness to communicate is blocked by Saturn, and it's possible that some fear can arise. Now, if you fear rejection, disapproval, or punishment, you will begin to repress your own impulses. Your strength, your vitality, and your life energy will not be able to be expressed. But repressed, these energies can turn into irritation, rage, and aggression. And if this aggression finds no external outlet, you could turn it inward upon yourself, and it may express itself as self-denigration or even depression in all of its aspects, up to and including an illness. But this is an invitation, this card, to recognize and end your repression and restriction of your own life impulses. And this is a step forward to taking responsibility for yourself and freeing yourself from unjustifiable moral restrictions and limitations. Now, whether you are consciously repressing yourself or not, recognize that there is much more which you would like to express, to experience, to enjoy, and to celebrate. So dare get out there and live. Now, there are some things, I think, that you have always wanted to say to certain people. What are those things? And who are those people? And you can, for the time being, just for yourself, express those things right now. And say this to yourself: I have the right to follow my feelings and life impulses. There really is a great strength which is around you at this time, a real, well, the strength of the lion, but certainly a great strength around you. Here's an interesting image. Let's have a look at this. See the way these things are sort of melanated? Very good job by the printers, I think, and a good idea of the artist to get that underway. Well, I think that of all the activity that's been going on in your life to date, I think there is a sense also that maybe you're feeling a little bit depleted, aren't you? And that's probably not unusual given the season. Now, you've been doing all that you can to guard the territory that you've created and everything that it holds. You're on the brink of a burnout, perhaps. Yet, there is still a reserve of energy left within you to face any issues that may arise. During these times, you may reveal your deepest fears and vulnerabilities and change that energy into strength that you need to keep holding on. Now, this Nine of Staffs, by looking at the image on here, it looks to me like it has been inspired by the ancient Egyptian god Hay, an old kingdom god of time and eternity, whose name means millions. He represents dynamic eternity. Now, the easiest way to think of this, I suppose, is to think of static eternity as the totality of time, where all exists at the same time instead of in a line being past, present, and future. On the other hand, dynamic eternity consists of millions of cycles of seasons in a never-ending loop, and Hay is often shown sitting with one knee up and holding two palm stems which represent a year. Each palm stem represents year, and the two glowing staffs mark the territory protecting the other staffs that have been acquired. Now there's a goose symbol on his crown. Geese are known to be stable, fiercely protective and cooperative with each other. And this symbol is a reminder to have faith and trust in yourself and the awareness to know whether or not what you are guarding is actually worth fighting for at the moment. Now, if I look at the astrology of the energy that's around it, it is of the moon ruling the second decan of Sagittarius, that 3rd to the 12th of December. Now, in the number 9 here, I have a mystical association with the moon as well. So we have the moon ruling Sagittarius and moon in the numerology. So we have a double lunar influence. And that talks about underneath, digging deep, going below. It can mean the subconscious. But it does mean that there is power for you that is gained through unifying conscious and unconscious energies, the unconscious energy coming from the double moon. There's a wholeness, a determination here with you, strength of character, courage under fire, and defending what you have worked for. And more particularly, there is here a great belief in yourself. And in the theme of that double lunar influence, you understand that latent powers, that is hidden underneath powers, are awakened and can be applied towards a purpose. And recognizing these unused potentials sets free more energies which are experienced as new and unusual. It is a strength that grows from within, symbolized through the moon. And the force of this newfound strength banishes the darkness of ignorance. And when your unconscious becomes visible, you are faced with many things you have covered up in order to avoid looking at them. This can produce a fear of some sort, the fear of feeling painful wounds you've covered up and hoped to forget. There may also simply be fear of your own yet unproven strength, which reaches into all the areas of your life now, reorganizing them. This budding self-realization allows no return to the familiar situation of weakness or ignorance. You will find that your inner strength grows in accordance with the task at hand. You will experience your energy as going far beyond the boundaries you thought existed. Now, this is a key experience, the beginning of a far-reaching inner and outer unfolding of your potential. You are, I think, in the process of discovering your real strength, and trust your inner guide. You may want to take part in groups which can help you develop and unfold your potential. That's up to you. Are you a little afraid of your own strength? In what areas of your life does this fear come up? I would also recommend that you pay attention to your dreams at this time, but say this to yourself: I know more and more clearly who I am. This recognition leads to the full development of my potential strength. Now that takes us finally, I think, to this card, which is the 3 of Staffs, and what a great energy it is for you. Now, I'm just looking at the picture on here, and it's reminiscent of the Egyptian gods and goddesses Geb and Nut, who represented not only the creation of our world, but also the first love story. Nut is the oldest of the deities, representing the sky and heavens, and beneath her lies her husband, who was also her brother, Geb, who represents the earth with its valleys, hills, and mountains. Now, as the story goes, Geb and Nut had children and were inseparable. So the sun god Ra ordered Nut not to bear children for 360 days. Nut asked Thoth, the god of wisdom, for his assistance, and in a game of chance with the moon, won enough of the moon's brilliant light to ensure 5 additional days of the year for Nut to conceive. Ra was so angry that he ordered the father, their father, Shah, or Shu, who's heir, to stand between them for all eternity, forming the world as we know it. Now here we see Nut represented as the starry heavens with her arms and legs outstretched, forming the pillars north, south, east and west, and Geb reaches up from the earth to meet her, but can only reach so far. For the chicory, also known as the clock flower, sits at the centre, blooming in the morning and closing in the evening. It's also considered a masculine flower, representing the sun and the air element. Now the bee is a symbol of fertility, community harmony and sweetness of life. And together these symbols poignantly illustrate the power of cooperation and co-creation in our natural environment. And this is the message that this Three of Staffs brings to you. Now, astrologically, it is the sun in the second decan of Aries. And this is talking about established strength for you. So you'll have virtue, integrity, honesty, and a great degree of self-confidence and no compromises. There are ideas crystallizing, a confirmation that you are on the right path, possibly business expansion here. And I suggest maybe that a hobby, you might be thinking of turning a hobby into a business. The sun is also exalted in Aries, and this placement is very favorable. Aries enjoys a challenge, and Aries suns are happiest when their lives are moving forward and active. So at this time, I think you should pay attention to your own point and internal stillness. Center yourself and overcome. Are there any reasons left for you to have any self-doubt? Do you let doubt touch what you consider to be your great virtues? And if you are not centered and feel doubts lingering within, then dispose of them and say this to yourself because it is true for you now. I have the power and virtue to reflect and to know. Well, that's the way it is for you this month.
Did you like that? I certainly enjoyed providing it to you, and thank you very much for joining me for your March 2022 reading. Now, if you did enjoy it on the way out, please do me the favor of smashing the like button. It's good for the YouTube thing, the software algorithm that allows more people to see the readings. But in the meantime, I want you to remember one thing, though, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.